Calculate defensive rebounding percentage in basketball. For basketball fans and basketball coaches and players, one of the most important statistics that you need is the defensive rebounding percentage. Through this piece of information, you will be able to determine how effective certain players or certain teams are in getting rebounds and scoring. Whether for individuals or teams, and whether as a coach or simply as a basketball enthusiast, here's how you can do this. Narrowing down the scope. First, you need to limit the number of players or teams whose defensive rebounding percentage you are going to get. Keep in mind that there are plenty of basketball teams and even more basketball players. There are also various levels of basketball teams and players. Because of this, it is best to start with only a few players or teams. One of the factors that will help determine which player or team to get defensive rebounding percentages for is your role. If you are a fan, then you can simply focus on the defensive rebounding percentage of the team that you are rooting for. On the other hand, if you are the coach, you can focus on the defensive rebounding percentage of your team in relation to the teams that your group will face in games or tournaments. Get the data. Next, prepare the rebounding data that you will need for the calculations. You can do this by checking out the box scores that are available for every basketball game. If you want to get a more accurate percentage, you can also retrieve past box scores for the teams or players that you are researching on. Check out online basketball sites for this information. In particular, you will need the total defensive rebounds, the offensive rebounds, and the basic defensive rebounds. Get the total rebounds. Next, add up all of the total defensive team or player rebounds, along with the offensive rebounds that have been made by the other teams. This will give you the total rebounds for the group that you are researching on. Rebounding percentage. To get the actual rebounding percentage, you will use the total rebounds to divide the defensive rebounds from the player that you are researching on. Keep in mind that getting the rebounding percentage for teams is slightly different, however, because you will need to divide the individual defensive rebounds by the total rebounds instead. Finally, round off the scores to the 10th percent to get the rebounding percentage. Comparing. Once you have the rebounding percentage for a certain team, you can repeat the same procedure on the other teams whose rebounding percentage you want to compare the base team to. Essentially, a team that has a higher rebounding percentage is one that is better at scoring and retrieving rebounds during games. You can then use this information to assess which team is better, or if you are the coach, you can use this to improve the team's performance. Calculating the defensive rebounding percentage in basketball can easily be done. Incorporate this procedure in your usual basketball viewing to be able to predict which team you should root for, or to discover which teams are likely to win through rebounds.